Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. February 13th in the States is Black Love Day, and for that reason, I've decided to talk about more of my favorite book boyfriends. If you missed that first video, I will have it linked in the cards and the description, but I have 5 more characters that I want to tell you about. Technically 6 because we are going to do an honorable mention. So if you've been around for a minute, you know that I love the Mafia Misfit series by Adrian, and there was a character that I really liked. However, I knew that the character that was coming up next, I knew that he was going to be my favorite. So honorable mention to Finnegan O'Sullivan, who is the male main character in Sinful Obsession. I really liked him. He was very sweet. I loved his relationship with Violet. Both of them were kind of obsessed with each other, and in hindsight, yeah, it's a little weird, but that's not the point. I really liked him. I thought he was super sweet, and I love that in male main characters. However, I had to kick him to the curb because Ricardo was coming along and I knew that he was going to be my favorite, and he is. Rocco is the male main character in Sinful Enforcer. He is the enforcer for one of the mafia families. He is a little unhinged, but he's also very caring and very protective, and I loved him. I knew I was going to love him, and Adrian really delivered. So I had to give a shout out to Finn, but even with the last few books of the series that still need to come out, I am pretty confident that Rocco's going to remain at the top of the list. I just had to make sure that I included both of them, but I'm pretty sure Rocco he's staying at number 1. Next, I have Kahlil from Mr. Librarian. So this is the first book in the mystery series by Beat Love, and we first meet our male main character when our female main character is crying in the hallway of his library, and he immediately spurs into action and defends her, and he's a little violent with it, and I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I was just like, all right, whatever, it's fine. This book I thought was going to be a regular contemporary romance. It is a contemporary romance with a side of gang shit that I was not expecting, and I wasn't mad at it though. So I did enjoy finding out more about Kahlil's background. He was still very sweet and very loving when it came to Honey, really helped her out because she was going through some things that had happened with this guy that she was dating prior, and she was a little traumatized from that, and he was very patient with her, and I really liked that. I'm gonna have a series review for that series eventually. I can really only recommend that first book though. We'll talk about that another time, but I did really like Kahlil, and I like that he's a book nerd too. I feel like we very rarely get male main characters that are also into books, so I really enjoyed that. Next, I have Cole from Before We Fall. This is book 2 in the Unexpected Lover series by Rosie Adams. I liked Cole from the very beginning. The thing about how that relationship formed is that he was genuinely just trying to be nice, trying to look out for her, trying to make sure that she was okay because he knew something was off. And I like that throughout everything that happens, everything that she's going through, he still respected her privacy, and the fact that their friends didn't necessarily know what was going on just yet because she needed to be able to tell her story in her own time. And I also like that he was very patient and very understanding, and it came from his own sort of trauma and things that he had witnessed too. But I think that that was also part of the reason that they were such a good match. Like, he understood where she was coming from, and he was willing to be there for her and let her work things out on her own time. And I really, really appreciated that. That book is very heavy. It does deal with an abusive relationship, and I think that Cole was just a really good example of how that should be handled. So yeah, it was good. Definitely would recommend to go in with caution, but I did enjoy the story overall, and I did enjoy the ending. Okay, for this next one, Heather, don't come for me, but I'm picking Adrian from Heir of Flames. I know what you're thinking. Is that man unhinged? Is he over the top? Is he ridiculous? Yes. But I gotta admit that there's something about him that I really like. I don't know, I really like him. I really, really do. And he's caring and loving, and he's always feeding her. That's important. And I just think that, you know, sure, he does need to learn how to talk about his feelings. He does need to have better communication. He does need to control his temper and maybe not jump to conclusions, and you know, just cool it a little bit, but he'll get there. It's fine. I mean, who doesn't love a man who's gonna murder a couple people for you, you know? Listen, don't look at me like that, okay? Let me have this. And the last one that I have for this round is Rome from Only for the Weak. It's the emotional intelligence. I was shocked. I mean, he's a man written by a woman, so of course, but I just really appreciated how he made sure that Janelle learned how to put herself first, because that needs to be done sometimes. It needs to be done. And she was constantly thinking about other people and how other people would feel and think and react instead of caring about herself. And he really helped her get through that. And he was respectful of boundaries, especially considering she used to date his best friend. But I just think that he handled that situation so well. So well. The whole thing with the sister and the ex, and just making sure that she was okay and not stressing herself out, and putting together things that he knew that she would enjoy and not really broadcasting that it was him. I think it was just really good. Like, the chemistry between the two of them was good. He is very caring, he is very patient, but also, if needed, he's about that life, and I like that about him. I do have a book review of Only for the Weak, so I will also have that linked for you, but I really liked him. He is definitely in like my top 5 right now, so really enjoyed him. Those are some of my newest book boyfriends, and let me know what some of your favorite book boyfriends are, or book girlfriends if you have them. I will be doing my favorite female main characters soon. I think I just finished my list for that, so I'll be getting to that at some point, but otherwise that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.